Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading with Tatiana. Today I'm doing my November 2023 wrap-ups and I had a pretty good reading month. I read 4 books this month and 2 of them were 4 out of 5 and 2 of them were 5 out of 5. So I really can't complain because if you've been watching my channel, I had kind of like a bit of like a slog during the summer and I was just like, this year's not been great for reading, but I really think I'm coming through at the end of the year with some very great reads, so I'm very happy. Before I get into my 4 summaries of the books I read in November, if you're watching this, I always will appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, comment down below if you've read any of these 4 books, or give me suggestions for December to wrap up my year. The first book I read was The Leavers by Lisa Ko. This was a 4 out of 5, and this book was actually one of the first books I added on my 2BR when I started my Goodreads account in 2021, and I finally got around to reading it. And this book was just so beautiful and sad at once. Basically, it was a great read because we learn about the Deming or Daniel. He is raised in New York with his mom, Pei-Ling or Polly. And why I'm saying these names is because they have like a Chinese name and then their Western name. And so Daniel Deming is raised by his mom, and they live in really cramped quarters. His mom works in a nail salon, and then he just has this great childhood where they like take the subway, get off at any station, explore the area, just very core memories. And then one day his mom goes to work at a nail salon and doesn't come back, and he's basically left to be adopted by a white family in a smaller city slash town in New York. And basically this book talks about the identity of being adopted, losing your roots, being adopted to a very different culture, and maybe your adoptive parents don't really celebrate or don't really, not that they don't celebrate as in being malicious, but they just don't know what to do. It's hard being an adopting parent. So basically talks about Daniel's journey. He reaches 20, is really struggling, and basically he kind of like tries to find his mom again back in China. It's just a really great book, comes with a lot of heavy topics. It made me really think about my relationship with my mom, even though she is my birth mother, and it's just awesome. I just love books that show that people are multifaceted. Like, no, Daniel's mom, Pei-Ling Polly, isn't just his mom. She's also her own person, had life before being a mom, had life after when she left New York. It's just a great story. The next book I read was Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Tien. I gave it an easy 5 out of 5. This is just such a great book. Probably one of my top books of the year. Maybe definitely top 3. I don't know if top 1 quite yet. It's historical fiction, which is my favorite genre, and it covers the several decades of China from the Great Leap Forward to the Cultural Revolution to Tiananmen Square, and basically it's a dual timeline of the 2 daughters who meet in Vancouver, Canada, and about how their dads were in China going through this whole Cultural Revolution. And it's just such a great book. I stopped halfway to watch more documentaries about the Chinese Revolution and that kind of stuff because I just don't know that much, and it's just really great. Like, I just love historical fiction because it makes history come alive. It gives these personal stories, even though they're fictionalized, but they're inspired by true events. And it's just really great. It just shows the complexity of life and how, again, like I said before for the previous book, people are multifaceted. They're not just your dad. They had this whole life before you, and they'll have this whole life after you. And it's just so great. I really recommend this book. The writing was very good. It wasn't hard to follow, even though it's a very complicated history and there's lots of characters. I found it just very, very enjoyable, and I highly, highly recommend this book. The next book I read was Young Forever, The Secrets to Living Your Youngest, Healthiest Life by Mark HYMAN. I gave it a 4 out of 5. This is a non-fiction book. I guess I would categorize it as self-help or health. And basically it's talking about not just extending your life, but the life that you have on this earth to have a very healthy life. It's not about living for as long as you can, it's about living as healthy as you can. And this really resonates with me because I am in my mid-30s, and I see people when we reach our 30s that either you have these habits that you haven't built in your 20s that just you are a bit overweight, you don't have the best fitness, and these things can really build into bigger issues as you age. Whereas you have this good health hygiene when you're early on and have these good habits, it doesn't feel like a working out, it doesn't feel like a chore. You feel like it's just something you want to do as simply as brushing your teeth, making the right food choices. Not that I'm perfect, I obviously eat a lot of processed foods, but just making these choices so as you build these habits, they don't feel overwhelming, and they just become like second nature. So this book talks a lot about how to live healthier, how to live better, and just have a good life because you deserve it. And it was just preaching to a choir because I really strongly believe in this. The last book I read is As Lemon Trees Grows by Sufla Katua, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5. This is also a historical fiction book focused on the Syrian civil war, and this book was just great. It is something that I have no exposure to this area of the world, the Syrian civil war, and when I watch the news, I just hear facts and figures and the horror of things happening in Syria, but this book really personifies the people. I never read a book that was focused on a war zone, specifically a hospital in the war zone, and this book really makes me feel like, damn, like I'm so freaking grateful I live in Canada, and how I can't take my life for granted because these people that live in this war zone, they're struggling, they're going through all these horrors every day, yet they're still able to find hope and just find joy in the small things, and it just makes you really have a lot of perspective of your own life. So really recommend this book. That's my November wrap-ups for 2023. Love to hear if you read these books before, and if you have any recommendations for me to wrap up my year, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.